Hi y'all, happy Pride and welcome to my Flosstube. I'm the Blue Box Stitcher. My name is Catherine and this is a channel all about my cross stitching. I wish I had other hobbies, sort of, but I don't. This is the one thing I do. Maybe that'll change, maybe it won't, we'll see. But I have a lot of exciting stuff to talk to you about today. I'm gonna be honest. Let me grab my coffee for this. I'm tired. It's been a trying month. My work is crazy. I live in Austin. We had this insane storm. I lost power for 10 hours, which I think is more normal here, but it's not normal where I grew up or went to college. So that was very stressful for me. I feel like I haven't gotten a good night's sleep in forever. So this is gonna be like, this is gonna be short and sweet, and this is gonna be like vibes. I didn't write down any notes for this video. I have my Notion pulled up. That's about it. Because I'm tired. But I wanted to film a video and get it out. I have super fun pride flan. See, I can't even talk. I can't even talk. I'm gonna let you drink some coffee. I literally worked a 13-hour shift yesterday. Like, loved it, but like, that's a long time. Got home at like 1 a.m. Let's do this. I don't even remember what I was gonna say. Oh, it's Pride. I have very exciting Pride plans, which I will go into at the end of the video, but I really wanted to get this video up and talk about my May stitching early in the month so that I could like make my next video all about Pride. So let's get into it. So this is my May stitching recap, and as some of y'all know, in my last video I talked about, well, my last video was actually a vintage haul, which was super fun, but my last Flosstube I talked about how I wanted to do a Manning May start. Funny story, I guess Manning May does not exist anymore. I did not know that. I didn't see anyone else doing Manning May, so that was kind of a rip. A little unfortunate, but any excuse to start something, you know? So I did. I talked about how I had some fabric issues in my last video, and I think I came up with a pretty good solution. And so what I ended up doing was I ordered fabric from 123 Stitch, which I, on the whole, like, I'm not a huge fan of doing because it's just so hard to tell like the accurate color in the photo. And I did get a couple of recommendations that said like Lindy Stitches takes really good photos, which was a good idea. So I think I might buy fabric from her in the future, but I'm still hoping to make it to a local LNS to buy fabric for my next planned start. But this is, so I ended up getting Picture This Plus Sterling, which is kind of a gray, it's a gray with washes of blue and green. We'll see how it looks on camera. And I did a center start for Garden Secrets by Carolyn, which I'll put right here. And this is my start. Look at her. I think she's actually gonna take up like most of the fabric. Like this whole piece of fabric is gonna be for the piece. I do think I'm gonna have like pretty good margin. Let me fold it so I can get you in a little bit closer. But I am really happy with my start on this. I definitely have thoughts. So this is 14 count. Okay, so here we go. This is my start. This, it actually goes like this. This is right here, is the center. I feel like this is getting super, like that's kind of the accurate color. The fabric is looking a little more blue in the camera, but it's more like gray. This is the center motif. And so this was kind of a journey. I did this on 14 count because I like to have a variety of counts, depending on I have chronic arm pain. 16 count is kind of my preferred count because I love the way 18 count looks, but it's a little bit hard. It's pretty hard for me. And 14 count is easier for me, but I'm not in love with the way the stitches look. So, but I did want to start a project on 14 count to have it on the days that I had arm pain. So I decided to do kind of split the difference, and I did Picture This Plus 14 count, because Picture This Plus typically has like a bit of a tighter weave, and this is definitely tighter. It's not 16 count for sure. It's probably like a 15 count or something, which I really like. And the other thing is I really wanted this project to be like just DMC and you just go. Like you can just rip out like a ton of stitches. This was not that. This ended up being very fiddly, which I guess you can tell based on the photo, but I just thought like these blocks would be so satisfying, and they are. But there's a lot of colors and there's a lot of color changes, and you're not really just like putting in a thread and going. So I ended up not getting as much, I guess, progress as I kind of expected. It's just a different style than I expected, of not necessarily like the artistic style, but the style of stitching. So I'll show you my journey. So I start with the center motif, and I'm kind of like, I don't know if I like those colors. So then I think what I did is, what did I do next? Now I'm like, what did I do? I had a very clear stitch path that I don't even remember. I think I put in like this little guy up here. And then I put in this. I think I put this one was really my second motif, which is a little weird because like, how did I go over there? And I liked it, but I didn't love it. This is a pretty good representation of the colors of the, not really the fabric, but the floss. Then I did one of these, and I was like, I'm obsessed. I'm in love. I love this so much. And that's when it really started coming together for me. So I did another one, I did these two motifs, I did this block, which was super fun, and I love working on this. I think for the future, I'm gonna try to do some sort of like motif a week, like one square a week on it, and just slowly chip away at it. It's definitely more fiddly, and so it takes longer to stitch, so it's kind of hard to get like a chunk of stitching done on it. Like, so if we look at the stats, I really wanted to get a chunk of stitching done on this during May, because I knew that I just like, when I start something, I want to get a decent amount of progress on it. I don't really love like a small start. And I ended up working on it for 10 days, and I did 625 stitches on it, which I feel like is decent. I had kind of been striving for 1,000 stitches when I thought about it, and I normally do like 100 stitches in a session. And I worked on it for 10 days, so I should have hit 1,000, but because it's so fiddly, it just takes longer. And honestly, like, I don't really have the patience to like sit there for like eons and like be swapping out my colors. But I'm honestly fine with it. I like, you know, you have to think about your stitching in terms of how many actual stitches you get done on it and the amount of time you spend on it. For me, you know, I've definitely like increased my stamina in stitching, which I'll talk about more with another piece of mine, where I am able to stitch for longer, both in terms of time and stitch count. But I find it helpful to, like, okay, I didn't hit 1,000 stitches, but I did work on this for 10 days. So like once every 3 days in May. And I'm very happy with that, because even though the stitch count was not like exactly what I wanted it to be, I really worked on it consistently. And I think that is almost more the goal there, is like consistent stitching at the end of the day is what I want to do, because stitching is a hobby that brings me a lot of happiness and joy, and I think I'm gonna talk about, I'm like still forming my thoughts on it, but I've been thinking a lot about whether I'm a progress or a process stitcher. And I think at the end of the day, I am maybe a bit more of a process stitcher. So like, even though I want these things to be done and I want them on my wall and I want to be making progress, sort of at the end of the day, like, I stitch because I like stitching, and I want to make sure that I'm doing the things that I like. So at the end of the day, like, consistency is almost more the goal in the ideal than however many stitches I'm actually doing, if that makes sense. I'm so tired. One last look at her. We love her. Yeah, all the called for DMC. Really happy with her. Okay, my next stitch was, I spent a lot of time working on my Capybara Tea Time by Needle Lot Designs, and I'll put a picture up here. It's on 16 count Celestine fabric by Fabric on a Whim. I feel like I said that kind of weird. And I'm stitching it on this hoop that I got at like a thrift store, but it's not like a vintage hoop. I'll show you the back. It's not like a vintage hoop. It's like I don't know, a hoop. But I'm gonna take it out of the, I'm twisting it the wrong way. I'm gonna take it out of the hoop so I can show you it, because I like really bopped around on it. I did a lot of stitching on this because I really wanted comfort stitching. Wasn't totally getting that for my Manning May sale, which was unexpected, but fine. And so this has a lot of block stitching, and even though it's on 16 count, the fabric is pretty loose, and it's kind of just like, I really wanted like easy stitching, and this is where I got to. So if you remember from my last video, I really, in the last month, worked on the teapot part. So I did all this at the bottom, like a ton of fill in at the bottom. I filled in these leaves. I worked on making the handle. I did a little bit of the tea sections. I didn't work on the capybara like at all. I really wanted to get like the surrounding stuff done so that I can just like go, you know, I can go to town on the capybara at the end. This is peak comfort stitching to me. I'm really enjoying it, which is funny because I started it really on a lark in like December, and I have like very serious stitching, well, I consider very serious stitching of like these beautiful, to me, very large sampler type projects like Garden Secrets, and I'm like, I love this freaking capybara. Why did I just turn white? I don't know what's happening with the lighting in this video, and I can't be bothered to fix it. So that's what's going on there. I ended up working on this for 6 days, and I did 652 stitches. So you can kind of tell, like, this one I did like 100 stitches a day on. I need a table like in front of me that I can put my coffee on. I got cinnamon roll coffee creamer. This coffee tastes like dessert. Yeah, I'm really happy with this one. I actually calculated how many stitches I would have to do each month to finish it by the end of the year, and it's like a little under 600 a month, which I think is super doable. And I think I want this finished by the end of the year. I don't want to carry it into next year, and I also like working on this, and I want to start like another small easy thing next January. So like the margin on this is ridiculous, girl. Like, why did, there's so much fabric on the other side. What happened here? So there's like a little plant here that I'm probably gonna leave out just because I don't think I have enough margin for it. But yeah, overall, super happy with her. Not much else to say there. Short and sweet today, guys. This is what this hoop looks like. I like this hoop a lot, to be honest. We're going to a queer crafting night tonight, and I think I will be bringing that because it's easy. Next up, oh, I forgot to show the flosses for my Manning May piece for Garden Secrets. So I'll just show them now, because why not? I put them on this little floss drop thingy. I don't know what this is called. Floss organizer. It's super cute. And I just put like 2 threads on each because it's only got 10 flosses. And it's very satisfying. And so it's like very easy to just like, I think because the color changes are kind of fiddly, it's nice to just like, I don't know, have all the flosses on one little thing and not, like for capybara, I have my flosses on bobbins on a ring, which I do like. It's like a little messy, but I like that. But that's easier because it's like, I'm doing block stitching, so I'm really only working on like one color at a time. Whereas this is nice for something like Garden Secrets. So yeah. Next up, we have Spring Night, sorry, by Luca-S, my full coverage. And I went to town. Now, like, monthly, I did, let's see. I only worked on it 3 days this month, but I did 376 stitches, and I did 207 of those in one day. Unheard of for me. I honestly wasn't really planning on working on this. I mostly had worked on Capybara Tea Time and Manning, I don't know why I keep calling it Manning May, Garden Secrets. And it sort of got to the end of the month. I was like kind of overworking on Garden Secrets. I felt like I had accomplished what I'd set out to accomplish on that for the month. And I was like, well, I want to be making monthly progress in some of my other charts. And so I was like, okay, well, I should pull out Spring Night. So I worked on it for a couple days and I did like 48 stitches. And then I did 121 stitches. And then I had these crazy thunderstorms in Austin. Like I said in the beginning, I was getting no sleep. I was very stressed. And so a few days ago, like really, I guess it says it's May 30th. I was like, I'm gonna do nothing but sit on my couch, watch Flosstube, and stitch. And that's what I did. So I spent like 3 hours on this, because this is also very fiddly. Like, I don't work on this super fast. And this is what it looks like. You're joking. You're joking. I'm sorry, that looks fantastic. I'm loving this project right now. It doesn't really fit into my Pride plan, so I'm not really certain like what I'll get done this month, but I'm obsessed. So what did I do? So if you remember from last time, I just did one color over here. And I think one of the reasons that I'm really loving this project right now is I found a method that works for me. So when I started this project in January, you know, I got this, I think I started it like actually December 27th or something. I got it for Christmas, the kit. I asked my parents for it, and I had decided on the method that I was going to use was going to be, this is the center right here, and I was going to pick a thread and go out, pick a thread and go out, pick a thread, and kind of fill in box by box that way. I didn't want to do like royal rows or I don't know, those crazy things where you leave, I'm not a big hanging thread person. So I was just gonna pick a thread and go out and fill in the boxes. Well, I don't know. That kind of proved to be a little complicated for me. I found it hard to like figure out what color I should pick. You know, it's not confetti heavy, but it's not block stitching either. So it is like a little fiddly, and I just like was getting a lot of decision fatigue. I wasn't really feeling it. And I kind of had just like this, which I thought looked really good, but then I was just feeling a little stuck on it. So what I did was over on this side, there was a ton of stitching of one color. So I just did all of that last month, which you saw in my last Flosstube. And I think that's the strategy I'm going to be moving forward on, because I was able, so I did like a chunk of one color, and then I had all these anchor points for my other colors. So even though this is on graded Ada, I still find it a little bit, like it's still hard. It's still full coverage. And so like this month when I pulled it out and I had that like base set, it was really easy for me to be like, okay, well, first I was like, I'm gonna fill in this part. Then I was like, I'm tired of doing that. So I'm gonna like do a little bit, I'm gonna do a strand of brown right here. The cabin is right here. And then I was like, you know what? I should like bridge the two pieces. So I started working like over here. And then I was like, actually, I should like go back and like start filling in over here. So then I was like, I put in this pink. And I could just like fill in where I could fill in wherever I wanted to go. And I ended up being able to work on it for so long because I could do like a fiddly bit where I put in, you know, I'm filling in over here and I'm doing like 5 stitches over here, 5 stitches here, 5 stitches here. And then I'm like, oh, I'm sick of that. So then I put in a strand of brown and it just goes all the way down. And then I'm like, okay, cool. That was fun. And then I go back to the fiddly bit. And then I'm like, you know what? I just want to put one color in. So I found this big block of like one color and I'm filling it in over here. And then I'm like, I'm sick of that color. I'm going to go do the pink over here. And so by having like a base set kind of across a page, I can really bounce around and do whatever calls to me in the moment, which changes like based like every thread that I pull out. But it was also really satisfying just doing the base last month. And so I think that's really like the strategy that I'm going to use for the rest of this, for as long as it works for me. I'm super pleased with that. 207 stitches in a day. I'm such a floss tuber. And I'm sure I'll pull this out at some point this month because I love making consistent progress on it. I love how it's starting to actually look like something. I'm honestly loving it so much that I've been eyeing some other full coverage projects that are so much bigger. I really want to do like a lady. But I just have to focus on this. I'm not opposed to starting another full coverage. I don't want to do them. I don't think I necessarily need to do them like when I finish this one, I start my next one, because I'm going to finish this in like 5 years. I was really looking at this and I was like, well, you should finish it by the time you turn 30. I'm 25, guys. I don't even know if the United States is going to exist when I'm 30. And I'm like, I need to figure out how I'm going to finish this cross stitch by the time I'm 30. Living in Texas is wild, is all I'll say. And so, yeah. Like I said, I'm not going to wait until I finish this to start another full coverage, because then I would simply never start another full coverage for like 5 years, and I don't want to do that. But I am like, okay, well, I should put progress into this before I even start thinking about buying another project that's going to be, like, the ones that I want are like 160,000. And I'm like, girl, this is 25,000 and this is a lot for you. So that's that. Spring Night, Luca-S, really happy with it. I would recommend Luca-S cross stitch kits, especially their full coverage kits. The ones that I've been eyeing are like on unconventional cross stitch, which I think will be interesting. But I like this kit, and the reason that I specifically did a full coverage kit was because, one, they are smaller, not a little bit, they are smaller. You can find smaller projects, and I didn't want to start this ginormous project and just feel completely overwhelmed. Two, you don't have to kit them up. The thought of like buying a pattern for $20 and then having to buy like 100 DMC, overwhelming. And three, I do think that I worry with some of the ones that are just like, that are artwork converted into cross stitch. First of all, I'm not doing like a hate or anything, because one, they're huge, and two, I'm not doing AI artwork, which is super confetti heavy and also ethically icky. But I had read that with kits, because they are limiting their flosses, like I think this one has like 50 flosses, they limit their floss size, and so like you're kind of guaranteed to not get confetti stitches, which I really liked. I don't really want to do a full coverage where I have to put like 20 colors into one square. That, like, this is fiddly enough for me. Now granted, I saw some artwork that I really like, and I have no idea. It might be like 20 colors in a square, and I might buy it anyways. We shall see. that's that. Moving on to my Doctor Who stitch. I love this stitch, but the thing with it is, well, I'll show it to you first. This is the Doctor Who pillow sampler by Cloud Factory. I am doing it on 16 count, picture this plus prairie. It's for sure a little tighter than 16 count, which I don't have an issue with, but it does go a little bit slower. There's not even a hanging thread on this. There's just this attached to it. So I'll add that strand on at some point. But this is what it looks like so far. I honestly don't even remember where I was last time. But first of all, I have to frog this. That's annoying. It's one stitch too far. But I've been like, working on the border, getting it in. I feel like the variegation of the floss is really starting to show where like this part's a little darker, this part's a little lighter, and I like that. It's like subtle, but not, it makes me feel like it was worth it to get the fancy flosses. And then you can see over here, I'm like low-key, kind of popped off there. I'm starting the D in Doctor Who. And you're correct. Those are half stitches you're looking at, or fractional stitches, quarter stitches. I don't know what they're called, but I did them. And I did them really well, to be honest. That's how you get they're really only, I can't even figure out where to put this in the camera. They're really only in the name Doctor Who up here. And so at first I was really intimidated, but honestly they really weren't hard. It's really easy to split this Ada, and I'm very pleased with it. So I think the next time I pull it out, I probably will like finish the D and like probably move the hoop, unless I feel brave enough to frog, in which case I could go down there. There's like, I originally had gone down here because there's a tiny little TARDIS here and I wanted to do that, but I might just ignore this section for a little bit. Also, I was really brave on my full coverage and I did frog some parts from mistakes that I made in like January. I finally tackled them. But yeah, not much to say about this one. I have been watching the new season. I have 2 episodes left. I unfortunately have gotten some spoilers, which I'm really annoyed about. But I have no idea what's going to happen in these last 2 episodes. Like, I've gotten some spoilers, but I don't know how that's going to happen or if it's actually happening. I'm trying to like meditate those spoilers away. But I really like the new season, to be honest. I think it's eons better than the first season, which I thought was good, but not like phenomenal. I think, honestly, I love this season. I just think it's really well written, which is weird because I'm getting the vibe that like a lot of people don't like it, and I'm like, couldn't be me. I love it. The thing about this stitch is I really like it, but it doesn't really have like a place amongst my other stitching because I am like, the whole point of what I wanted to do with it was I wanted to do a Doctor Who rewatch. I'm getting the coffee back. We're bringing the coffee back out. I wanted to do a Doctor Who rewatch and I wanted to stitch on this while I watched Doctor Who, but the rewatch is going pretty slowly because I don't know. It just is. So I'm not getting a lot of progress on this, which makes me sad and a little bit stressed because I don't mind having a lot of whips, but I don't really want to ever be in a position where I'm not actively making progress on all my whips. Now I'm pale again. So I'm really sure what that means for this piece. If I'll start stitching on it while I'm not watching Doctor Who, if I should really just commit to the rewatch. I also had, the thing about my job is I work for a hockey team. So there's like, the season and then the off season. And I was like, well, I'll start this and then I will like really dig into the rewatch in the off season. I am someone who really likes working. I don't like sitting still. So the off season is a trying time for me. I can't handle that level of inactivity. So I was like making plans for it, and then my season simply never stopped. We're in like the second to last round of the playoffs right now, which it's very niche, and I don't really know where the intersection of like sports fans and Flosstube intersects, but like I did not expect to be working games in June. I'm happy that I am, but I'm also like, all the expectations and the loose plans that I had thrown out the window. I don't know what my life is right now. I don't know what my job situation is right now. I don't know what the weather is right now. So the rewatch has not started in earnest like I thought it would, is the point. Yeah. I have not much else to say about that. I feel like this is a crazy energy here. But I'm like, I have to get the Flosstube out. That was that. We have one more stitch, which you're gonna see every video until I finish it, and that is my Dungeons and Dragons stitch. It's the Dimensions Wizard kit. It's out of print, but you can find it on eBay for like 15 bucks. I'll put a picture right here. And I love working on it. I work on it during my D&D sessions, and then sometimes I pull it out just for fun. This is what we're working with. It's looking good. It's looking real good. And I'm feeling good about it. There are some mistakes in the top there. I feel like I've gotten a lot better about not making mistakes in my stitching, but I'm definitely getting to the point where I'm making enough progress on my stitching that I'm like I'm like working on a new section that's maybe by a section I worked on in like January, and I'm like, girl, you did not count right there. So there's a lot of fudging and frogging happening at the moment. This one will undoubtedly, I will never frog anything on this. That's crazy. But yeah, having a good time with this one. She's fun. I actually might start a new D&D campaign with some people in Austin. Tiny bit worried, because I will be the only girl there. But hopefully it's fine. It's gonna be like a queer D&D group. So it's not gonna be like me and a bunch of straight guys, which would be not ideal. But we'll see. And I might start a new D&D stitch for that. I'm kind of considering it, because this one is like still a little bit involved, and I kind of would want something that's more fill-in for that. That's just something I'm pondering. That's my stitching for the month. I don't even know if I told you how many stitches I did on Doctor Who Pillow Sampler. I did 257. So that's that. Yeah, I did like 2,000 stitches in May, which I'm really happy with. I've been stitching a lot recently, and let's keep the coffee. Shouldn't have put it back. I've been stitching a lot recently. I really do think I'm building up my stamina when it comes to stitching, where I feel like when I started, I stitched like 50 stitches at a time, and then for a while I was doing like 100, and now I find that I am doing like 150. I did like 200 stitches a couple days ago again, on a June project that I'll save for next video, but I'm feeling really good about that. And I would love to get into a spot where like I can stitch for, you know, a couple hours at a time. It's very relaxing, very soothing. I would love to be able to dedicate myself to my craft like that. So pretty happy with that. June plans. Today is June 3rd. I will probably post this on June 4th. But I love Pride. I would not say June is my favorite month because I don't like the summer, but I love Pride. I'm a lesbian and I grew up in DC, and you know, I guess most people know DC is the capital. DC is really gay. Really gay. And we go really hard for Pride. And so I've always loved Pride since I came out. I mean, like everyone does, but it's such a thing in DC. And I'm a little bit sad that I'm not in Pride for DC this summer, because I have spent the summer at home, even after I've graduated college, as I've moved from job to job, but I am staying in Austin for another year, so I'm spending the summer here, which is a little weird, but you know, can't go home every summer. I'm 25. So I'm trying to enjoy Pride in Austin, which Austin's very gay too, in a different way, a little more outdoorsy, which I'm not in love with. All the Pride is outside. I'm like, what about the air-conditioned Pride? But I've already been to a couple events. I'm going to one tonight, and I really wanted my stitching to be all about gays. And so what I did is I made a wheel. It's really inspired by Jen's Fiberweb. She was doing Monogamous May, and she like made a wheel and put all of the colors of her full coverage in it, and then would like spin the wheel and pick a color and then color complete that color, and she actually finished her project, which is stunning. And so I'm doing my own like mini version of that where I made a Pride wheel. I will pop a picture of the wheel up here, but I have 5 projects on it, I think, and I'm gonna spin the wheel every day and stitch on whatever the wheel decides. I didn't spin the wheel yesterday because, like I said, I worked a super long shift, but I spun the wheel June 1st. I spun it today, and I'm gonna do that throughout the rest of June, and I'm super excited about it. I have 2 new starts that come along with that. One I already had kitted up, which is Pride Goose. I forget the designer. I'll put it in the description. I put all of my like patterns and the designers in the description. And I have the kit for that. I have the floss for that in the fabric. So I'm gonna start that when the wheel lands on it. And then I also, I was feeling a little down that Manning May did not really turn out to be a thing. And so I originally wasn't going to start really anything in June. Like I didn't have a plan to start. I was like, well, I should start the Pride Goose because it's little. It's like 800 stitches and I had the floss already. But I didn't really have any planned starts. And like really last minute, I decided to join the Strawberry Moon Sal by Marjorie Maid. I love her and I love her stitching, and I saw everyone talking about the Strawberry Moon Sal, so I was like, fine, I'll add it to the wheel. It's because in June, like the moon is called the strawberry moon because I guess that's when you harvest strawberries. It's not like gay, but it is. You know what I mean? If you get it, you get it. And so I decided to start this pattern for it. I had one of my sleepless nights, started looking up strawberry patterns, bought it. That's what happened there. It's like 2,000 stitches, so it's not huge. And I think I'm pretty happy with it because, like I said, I had wanted that Garden Secrets to be kind of like an easy stitch the way a day moment, and it really wasn't. And I kind of wanted a project that's a little bit more like my capybara project, where I can just like go to town and it's very easy block stitching, and this kind of looks like that. So with like the strawberry and the clouds, so I think it'll be super fun. I'm not gonna go into like books or games or anything today. Too tired, I can't be bothered. I'll go into it next month. I will say, so my plans for my videos are in a couple weeks I want to put out a Flosstube Extra, where I highlight some of my favorite pride patterns, which I think will be really fun. And then my next Flosstube is kind of TBD because I'm actually moving at the end of June. Just like a mile away. I'm moving into an apartment. I don't want to live in this current place anymore. And, you know, moving is truly one of the worst things to do in this world, to be honest. So I'm also going home for the 4th, which has completely messed up my move. So I don't really know if I might film my next Flosstube before the move in like 3 weeks, or I might wait until after the move and after my vacation, which would be like a week into July. I might not be in this location for the next Flosstube, or it might be early. I haven't decided. It's kind of gonna depend on like what, like, I guess how much stitching I get done and what my time looks like. If I do it in 3 weeks, this room will probably be like empty because I'll have packed everything. TBD on that one. Yeah, if you made it to the end of this video, leave a drink emoji. It could be coffee. It could be like a martini, which I could also use. Not right now because it's like 3 p.m. but in a couple hours I could maybe use a martini. Any drink emoji that strikes your fancy if you made it to the end, which maybe you didn't because the vibes were a little off in this video and I could tell. But yeah, I hope everyone is having as good of a time as they can. I hope you're taking care of yourself. I hope you're drinking water along with your copious amounts of caffeine that I assume you're consuming. I know I am. And I hope you are able to celebrate Pride and whatever that means to you. Love y'all. Bye.